Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. This is our all recovery meeting for the day. The article I have here is Personal Growth in Recovery, Becoming the Best Version of You. The journey of recovery from drug and or alcohol addiction is often seen as shedding a negative past, but it's also a fundamental about building a brighter future. It's not just about stopping substance use, it's about transforming your life, discovering who you are meant to be, and actively pursuing what we call personal growth and recovery. This process involves healing, self-discovery, and continuous working towards becoming the best version of you, a version that is healthier, happier, and more fulfilled. Addiction often stunts emotional and personal development, creating a pause in life, natural progression. Recovery restarts that clock. It's a chance to learn new ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. And it's an opportunity to build resilience, develop healthy relationships, and find purpose beyond substance use. Embracing personal growth means committing to continuous learning, self-improvement, and positive change, which are crucial elements for maintaining long-term sobriety. Without this forward momentum, recovery can feel stagnant, making individuals more vulnerable to relapse. In this comprehensive guide, we will delve deep into what personal growth means in the context of recovery, exploring existential components and the stages you can employ and to foster it. We'll discuss the challenges you might face and how to overcome them. Man, this is powerful stuff. It says personal growth in recovery becomes the best version of you. And that's what recovery is about for me anyways, about changing and growing, not just stopping using drugs and alcohol, but like it talks about shedding them layers back and finding out who you truly are without drugs and alcohol. I know the person I was, under the influence, but like I really didn't know the best version of me. I put limitations on myself, right? I was always in negative self-talk and always beat myself down. And, I never, experienced the positive things in life. I didn't allow myself to experience, the good things that was offered to me, because I was always under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and I just didn't know how to function without it, through growing and changing, and it's a process, things just don't happen overnight. Like one day we are using, and then one day we're not, and we're going to try to find the best version of us, and that takes time, but it takes work also. I had to learn that too, that like I had to work on myself. So I can't just put drugs and alcohol down and expect myself just to change. It just doesn't happen that way. So it took work, and we talk about multiple pathways, and it can be various things. It can be meetings, support groups, counseling, therapy, sometimes medications needed. There's a whole bunch of different things that we can, endure into our process so we can change and grow and continue to live our best life and continue to find the best version of us. But, it takes commitment, it takes perseverance, and it takes, not picking up no matter what, because life is going to happen. Life is going to continue to throw curveballs at us. For me, building a solid foundation in early recovery and building a solid foundation of network of people and building healthy relationships, I can manage and cope with life stressors. I have a recovery management plan set in place, so when things do arise, because it's going to happen, but I have the support, right? And I have people I can depend on, and people help me to change and grow. Most importantly, we don't use no matter what. It says understanding personal growth and recovery. So what exactly do we mean by personal growth and recovery? It's more than just staying sober. It's an active, ongoing process of self-improvement that happens mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically. As you heal from addiction, It involves shedding old destructive patterns of thought and behavior and cultivating new healthy ones. Think of it as rebuilding yourself from the inside out, laying a solid foundation for a fulfilling life without relying on substance. At its core, personal growth and foundation for a fulfilling life without relying on substance. Recovery is deeply intertwined with self awareness and self reflection. Addiction often creates a disconnect from one's true feelings, needs, and values. Substances are used to mask pain, avoid emotions, or escape of reality. Recovery requires peeling back these layers to understand the root cause of addiction and one's own internal landscape. Self awareness is the ability to recognize your own emotions and thoughts and values. And it goes to, and how they influence your behavior. Let me stop right there real quick. And it says, recovery requires peeling back these layers to understand the root cause of addiction. And that's something that I did since I've been there in recovery is, finding out the root cause of my problem, right? And to me, in the beginning, it was clearly the drugs and alcohol, right? And now I see that the longer I stay off of drugs and alcohol, that's not just my only problem, right? It's clear as day, like I have, some defects and shortcomings and things I have to work on, right? Because some things are deep rooted, ingrained in us because we continue to live a life that's unhealthy, but we pick up a lot of bad behaviors in the process of using drugs and alcohol. And to shed them and to break that habit of continuous, living in fear and living in resentment and being in anger and frustration, the things that we talk about in recovery that drugs and alcohol really, put a strain on us in our relationships. We have to learn to navigate through that stuff and get to the root cause and peel back these layers and find out what's really going on with us. We suffer from a lot of traumatic things. Is it genetic or is it a product of my environment while I was using drugs and alcohol? And is it because of trauma, PTSD? There's a lot of factors, right? And it's different for everybody. But if we don't know, we don't know. And if we don't know, how are we going to continue to try to fix it? So we have to dive deep and it can be uncomfortable. Finding out what's going on with us and expressing that. That's one thing. Trying to process it with ourselves, and I tried to do that for the longest time, and that continued to me use drugs and alcohol because I just didn't know how to deal. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to manage my emotions and feelings and the situations I put myself in or what happened to me. There's many factors, but when we can get with people in recovery, right, get with professional help, right, and get with a network and a sponsor, a mentor, there's a lot of things that we can, we have a lot of resources. A lot of people can help us. Just we have to follow through and keep on putting one foot from another and keep on, finding out and changing and growing and learning. Before I used to learn from my own mistakes, right? Now I can learn from others. We don't get perfect in recovery; we just get better. But I like learning from others' mistakes, not just mine. To me, that's a step forward because, like, I know what drugs and alcohol did to my life. Not just to me, but to my family, my friends, and people that loved and cared about me. Right? It was nothing positive that came about me using drugs and alcohol. Right? So I had to do something different. I know one of the things as part of disease of addiction is selfishness, self-centered, right? And we want to do things our way and how we want to do it, not caring about others. So I can put others first before myself. It says this isn't always easy. It can involve confronting uncomfortable truths about past actions, motivations, and personal shortcomings. However, this honest self-examination is the first step toward authentic change. Self-reflection is the practice of pausing to consider your experiences, thoughts, and feelings in recovery. Often, this often happens through journaling, meditation, talking with a therapist, or sharing in group therapy. It's about learning from your mistakes, identifying triggers and unhealthy coping mechanisms, and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. For example, reflecting on a difficult social situation might reveal a fear of judgment that previously led you to use substance. With self awareness, you can identify this fear with self reflection. You can explore its origins and consider new ways to respond. The connection between personal growth and long term sobriety is profound and undeniable. Addiction thrives in stagnation, isolation, and emotional avoidance. Personal growth counteracts these forces by fostering resilience, connection, and emotional intelligence. When you're actively engaged and growing as a person, you are building a life that is genuine, satisfying, and meaningful. This satisfaction becomes a powerful motivator for substance. You see it as a state of liberation and opportunity. This opportunity to pursue your passions, build strong relationships, and achieve your potential. It says, furthermore, personal growth equips you with better coping strategies as you develop self awareness. You become better identifying your emotional states and triggers before these escalate. That's a big one. In recovery, we start to see ourselves coming before we act out. We start the process, of thinking and not just responding, not just acting out. A thought comes in and I'll just act on that thought. We can process our emotions and feelings and really think about it before we say or do something. And that takes practice. That's something I still work on to this day. Let me stop and think. You ever heard the saying like, my first thought is never the right one. So like, I can like process my thoughts before I say or do something. Because I don't want to cause harm today, and it happens. But we can get better with it if I just stop, pause, right, and process and think what I'm about to say or do. Or not just process, stop, and pause, and I can actually call somebody else, right? I can get somebody else's perspective, right? I don't have to run off my self will, right? I don't have to act off my emotions and feelings, right? And that got me in a lot of trouble. That's, we get to figure out our patterns, right? Why do I keep on doing the things that I was doing, right? I can figure that kind of stuff out. And through the process of recovery is, let me think about it. Let me run it past somebody. Let me get somebody else's perspective and ask for suggestions and stuff like that. It's always good to run things by somebody. I don't always have to act as if or, off my own will, because that got me in a lot of trouble, So it's always good for asking for help or getting somebody else's perspective on things. It says through self-reflection and therapeutic work, you learn healthier turning to substance. This makes you more resilient. Let me see where I'm at. All right, so personal growth transforms recovery from simply surviving without substance to truly thrive in a life of purpose and well-being. It's an ongoing journey, not a destination, and it's a vital component of building a strong foundation for lasting sobriety. The initial stages of recovery focus on stopping substance use and stabilizing as you progress. The focus naturally shifts toward building this new life, and personal growth becomes the driving force. It's a journey of reclaiming your identity, finding your voice, and ultimately creating a life you've always wanted, free from the chains of addiction. This understanding is a fundamental to approaching recovery, not as an end, but something navigating, but as powerful beginning to something positive and transformative. Yeah, recovery is an ongoing process, and there's not a destination. It's not like I get to this point or I get these many days or these many years, and it's a destination. Recovery is a lifelong process. And in the beginning for me, that was overwhelming. It was um, overwhelming that I had to be in this process of recovery for the rest of my life. And it only took a day at a time, to start to feel comfortable about that. Like I accept and I surrender that, I have the disease of addiction and I'm an addict in recovery, right? And I'm going to deal with this the rest of my life. And I'm okay with that today. I am content. I am happy. I have a life behind my wildest dreams. As cliche as that sounds, we talk about recovery. I never had any type of morals, values, beliefs. My life consists of using drugs and alcohol, and I created a lot of damage to myself and others. So this is a life beyond my wildest dreams, and the simplest things, right, makes me happy. Right? It's not the money. It's not the material things that I have in life. To me, that doesn't equal happiness, right? Me just waking up in a safe environment, right? Peaceful, right? Just happy, joyous, and free is the most best thing I can get. That's the best thing I can receive is just some peace of mind, and I don't have to look over my shoulder. I can just wake up and drink a cup of coffee and be a productive member of society. The simplest things, because just that wasn't the person I was. It was chaotic. I was always in conflict or chaos, or I was always running and chasing and doing this and doing that. It was chaotic, and now I can just wake up with some peace. And yeah, material things are nice. It's nice to have, but the internal stuff that I have today is the most best thing I can get in life. Says some of the key elements of personal growth. Personal growth isn't a single event. It's a multifaceted process built upon several interconnected elements. Recognizing and cultivating these elements is crucial for anyone navigating recovery and striving to become the best self. One fundamental element is embracing change and setting realistic goals. Recovery itself is a massive change, leaving behind an old way of life. Embracing this change means accepting that the past is the past and to focus your energy on building the future. This involves letting go of old habits, environments, and even relationships that are not conducive to sobriety and growth. Yep, and we talk a lot about people, places, and things. We have to avoid people, places, and things that are just not beneficial to our life no more. Just for me, my life consists of using drugs and alcohol and getting more of that on a daily basis, right? Um, so I had to avoid people, places, and things. And that can be tough for a lot of us, man. There's people that we grew up and people are relatives and we day in and day out that we were engaged with, and to break that, and to avoid them or not be involved, it can be tough, to let go of some of those relationships. But like for me, I know if I want to stay off of drugs and alcohol and I want to be the best version of me, and I have to cut certain things out and certain people out of my lives. I have to, because like my past has shown when I stop using drugs and alcohol and I surround myself with the same people, places, and things that are related to drugs and alcohol, I can end up relapsing. And I did, so it's definitely needed to change. And I can create new people, places, and things. I can create a new future, right? My past is my past, and I don't let that define who I am today, right? But I can focus on new things and a new way of life. It requires courage and willingness to step into the unknown. Hand in hand with embracing change is the practice of setting goals. Goals provide direction, purpose, and a roadmap for your journey. And recovery goals might start small. attending a thought therapy session, practicing mindfulness, or 5 minutes daily reconnecting with a supportive family member. As you gain momentum, goals can become larger, pursuing education, find meaningful employment, developing a new hobby, improving physical health, or repairing damaged relationships. It's vital that these goals are realistic and achievable, broken down into smaller, manageable steps. Celebrating the achievement of these smaller steps builds confidence and motivates you to continue. Yeah, you don't want to set unrealistic goals, right? We don't want to be unrealistic with things, because then we can become overwhelmed and discouraged, right? And we can, I always gave up, it was quick to give up for me, start do something and something didn't go my way. If I didn't hit the goal, I would just give up, so today I can set realistic goals, right? And today I see my self worth. I have good qualities and assets about me, and I can. Since I've been in recovery, I hit a lot of marks in life. So like if I continue to do what I keep on doing, right, I can achieve a lot of good things in life, which I never thought. I just me being locked and loaded in my head and the things I thought and I was my worst critic, you know what I mean? So I was like the biggest barrier from me getting to recovery. It was me and my thoughts, my thinking, and the way I was behaving. So, I had to do something different this time. And one is to give myself some grace and mercy, right? And start to love myself and start to care about myself, right? Until day in and day out, I start to get better. And I started hitting a lot of marks in life and could achieve a lot of goals. And I start to see, it was encouraging to see others do a lot of things in recovery, and it made me want more. It says, mindfulness minutes a day. It says, setting unrealistic goals can lead to discouragement, which can counterproductive in recovery. Therapists often work with clients on setting SMART goals. And it says achievable, relevant, time bound to make this process more effective. Another critical element is developing resilience and coping strategies. Life doesn't stop presenting challenges just because you're in recovery. That's right. Stress, setbacks, difficult emotions, and unexpected crises will still occur. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from these challenges without relapsing. It's not about avoiding pain or difficulty, but about navigating effectively. Building resilience involves strengthening your emotional and psychological fortitude. This includes developing a positive self image, believing in your ability to handle challenges, and maintaining a hopeful outlook. Coping strategies are the practical tools you use to manage stress, navigate negative emotions, and triggers. These can include healthy activities like exercise, meditation, deep breathing, journaling, spending time in nature, engaging in creative pursuits, or talking to a trusted friend or therapist. Learning to identify uncomfortable feelings like like anger, sadness, or anxiety. What's up, brother? Go on. And learning to identify uncomfortable feelings like anger, sadness, or anxiety, and choosing a healthy coping mechanism instead of resorting to substance is a cornerstone of lasting recovery and personal growth. Developing a diverse toolkit of coping strategies ensures you have options no matter what life throws your way. Therapeutic like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which we'll discuss further, are particularly effective in teaching these skills. Finally, building a support network and seeking guidance is indispensable for personal growth and recovery. Addiction often isolates individuals. Recovery is about reconnecting and building healthy relationships. Your support network includes family members, sober friends, peers in recovery programs, sponsors, therapists, counselors, and mentors. We'll stop right there. This is personal growth and recovery. Becoming the best version of you is the topic. Yes, These are the people who understand your struggles, offer encouragement. So thank God for a support network. Thank God for family support and friends in recovery. And because the only reason why I continue to do what I do is because the people helped me. That's the only way I can stay in recovery is people help me. Because I tried things on my own for many, many years. And I had to break down the selfishness that I was doing, because we just don't hurt ourselves, we hurt others.
If we could do it alone,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have these programs.
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it alone. You got to freaking hear someone else. You got to hear other people's stories. You know what I mean? Because when you're in your addiction, like, you always feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you feel like alone. So you figure like, oh, I'm doing it alone. I am alone. I can quit alone.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we're all alone. That's why we have to come together. You know what I mean? To figure the shit out.
Yeah, we can isolate ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's one of the biggest factors, man, that can really do some damage on us. And that's also in recovery, not just being an active addiction, isolating. That's a main thing that we do.
Yeah.
But also, if we do that in recovery, it can be in a bad way.
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? With years and stuff clean.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I need help on a daily basis, and like that's how recovery works. People help me so I can help others.
Right.
It's
And
not
you help
always
others
about
so you can help yourself.
Yeah.
Helping others makes you feel good inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually helps you.
It gets you out of
help
yourself,
others.
man.
Yeah.
We go through things, but my background is being selfish and self-centered. That's the main thing in disease of addiction. We're selfish and self-centered.
Yes.
It's all about me, what I want, how I want it,
When you want it. Yeah.
Like I have to break that pattern. If I don't, I'm just gonna end up killing myself, with drugs and alcohol, or keep on doing what I want to do.
Right.
I like to put others first, to actually like think of others and care for others and give back,
Right. Right. That's like a really good thing too, right there, because investing all into yourself is that going back to how you are in addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Selfish. So investing even in sobriety, just being selfish, you know what I mean, it's just not a good thing. You know what I mean?
Well, self-care, like we can look at.
That's different.
That's different.
That's
right.
different. That's completely different.
We can figure out some things like my thinking and like my definition of things were distorted.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
your way of thinking, the way you're seeing.
Yeah.
Like everything. You see things in a totally different way than the sober person when you're high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're very like distorted and denial, rationalized and justified.
I mean, that's like getting pulled over for swerving on the road, and you're doing a sobriety test, and you're all over the place. The cop's telling you you're drunk, and you're saying you're not drunk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we're good at that. It's like manipulation.
Right.
So it's like doing. You see it a lot too. Doing wrong. And then getting mad at the person that's telling you that you're doing wrong. Like,
right.
Oh, you're doing something like just like we were talking about. I'm doing this, then when I get pulled over, I'm upset because you pulled me over.
Right, for doing wrong in the first place.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So first you come out with, I did no wrong. Then you try to justify your doing your wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you try and weasel your way out of doing wrong.
Yeah, I know. I tried to do that thing for many, many years. I tried to just rationalize, justify, and blaming others. And, it's just, it became a way of life, right? It's how to survive.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I understand. I get it, right? Because I lived it, right?
I came up with a motto. You got to stop surviving and start freaking living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop surviving and just start living.
Look, the survival mechanism is the way we behave.
Life is for the living.
Yeah.
Not the surviving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get it wrong. We're all going to come through struggles, this and that. And like, hopefully you know how to survive them and make it through them.
There's different ways we can deal with our emotions. There's different ways that we can survive and live.
Yes. Exactly.
All the stuff that we did to justify our using was just all negative ways.
Yeah,
You know,
it's the
so
whole
it's
negative
like-
lifestyle.
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah, it's always getting in trouble. There's consequences for our actions.
Yes.
And that's another thing, man. The consequences, they're always there. It might not be right away, might be that next week, but months later, it catches up.
You're going to cover, you're going to lie today, you're going to be covering it with another lie next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, okay, you might be able to cover it for so long, but eventually, what doesn't come out in the wash is going to come out in the rinse. You know
I
what I mean?
always say everything comes to light.
Exactly.
Sooner or later, everything comes to light, man.
Yep. Yep. That's why surrender.
We ain't special, and we're all human. We're all the same.
Just surrender that you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You need help, and be open-minded and willing to freaking take others' advice, listen. You know what I mean?
We just want to do things our way. It's hard to break that, man. That takes practice. That takes time, and it doesn't just happen.
Well, it's because now it seems like you're not living your life.
Mhm.
You're living, but you're living, somebody else is living through you. You know what I mean? Like you're doing exactly what they're trying to program you to do. You know what I mean? And like, even though they're trying to guide you in a straight and a good direction, it's hard to do that. You know what I mean? Because this is my life. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody telling me how to live, what to do, this and that.
We got to think about it. We put ourselves in these predicaments.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I don't like going to jail. I don't like being told what to do, when to eat, sleep, stuff, right?
Right.
Nobody does. I don't think anybody likes. We have to have control. That's a big thing, having control.
Right.
But I got to remind myself, Carl, right? If you don't want to go to jail, or if you don't want to be in any kind of situation where you don't have the control, don't put yourself there.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
mean, you don't like being told what to do and then guiding you down a decent path. Do you like waking up going through withdrawal every day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause that's something right there. It's not a voice, it's not a thing telling you what to do, but it's something that's got complete control over you.
Yes, it does.
Complete control over you. You're living your life through that.
Powerless. You're
So what's
powerless.
different if you're living your life through somebody else's eyes? They're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to help you. You know what I mean?
It's definitely tough, man. Let's see here. Steve, are the people who understand your struggles. It says, these are the people who understand your struggle. That's awesome, right? Because people understand because we've been through it.
Right.
These are the people who understand your struggles, offer encouragement, hold you accountable, and celebrate your successes. Sharing your experiences and feelings with trusted individuals reduces feelings of shame and isolation. Seeking guidance from professionals such as licensed therapists or addiction counselors provides expert support tailored to your specific needs. They can help you navigate complex emotions, process past trauma, identify unhealthy patterns, and develop strategies for growth. So when we said identify unhealthy patterns, so we don't like to be told about ourselves, right? We don't like to be judged. Nobody does. I don't like to be judged. I'm not talking about judgment, but if somebody pulls me up and says, "Hey, man, you shouldn't be doing this," or let's take another look at things, we get defensive.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, we get defensive. We don't like to be talked about, or not. Of course, nobody likes to be talked about. We don't like to be pulled up on things.
Yeah, right. You don't like somebody pulling your card.
We would say it's criticism, healthy criticism.
Healthy criticism. Yeah.
It's tough. But all along, I knew right from wrong since I was a kid.
Yes.
I knew right from wrong. I can't say, I wasn't aware. I didn't
Knew
know
it as a kid. Knew it through addiction.
I knew right from wrong.
You know.
Right.
When
I just chose to do what I wanted to do.
I wasn't thinking when I was a kid, oh, I want to grow up and be an addict. That just happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just happened. And I don't know how it happened. So little help figuring out how to get away from it.
And there's many factors, right? And we can go down a rabbit hole, it can be genetic, right? Because it can be passed down. That's one way.
Yeah.
Product of my surroundings and my environment.
Yeah.
While I was hanging around with as a kid. So there's many things, trauma. There's many things. right? And it's good to like to uncover that kind of stuff, but the focus is on like let's figure out stuff to get better, a solution,
Right.
right? This is what I was using. Let's figure out the solution. What can help? Many pathways. It doesn't have to be give me anything.
Right.
Counseling, therapy, meetings, support groups. There's sometimes medication. There's many things that we can do to help us.
A lot of people, like through my years, where it's like you get high and do your shit so long that becoming clean doesn't seem like a thing because, well, what am I going to do now? Well, what did you do as a kid, like for fun? What were your hobbies? Did you surf? Did you skate? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like things like that. Did you fish? Maybe go try and pick up your kid habits again
100%.
before you became.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, talking about
Those were
the
things
old
you
passions and things and things that we used to do.
Right.
I mean, they don't have to die,
Exactly.
because we get
Because you
clean.
get older.
Yeah, I still my thing is fishing.
Right.
I still fish and stuff like that.
Yes,
And it's about doing things different, and picking up old things, fishing, whatever you used to doing back in the day, man.
exactly.
So like,
Dude, I freaking was on a speed skate team back in the 80s, all that shit. Last month went to Skate 48 over here.
okay,
Bought a brand new $300 pair of roller skates. I've been there every freaking week since. Been there freaking roller skating.
nice.
I mean, I still got it.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't been on a set of skates in over 30 years. I went and got some. And like, okay, I'm not what I was in. But I tell you what, I would have raced anybody in that freaking rink that a couple of them passed on drives. Like, I'm
You want to be happy. That's what we're about. Is enjoying life, having fun,
Yes.
having a good time.
this life is too short.
It
If you
is.
want to fly, let go of things that are weighing you down.
Yeah. It's about having a good time, man. Happiness, joy, you want to live.
Yeah.
Because I know active addiction robbed me from a lot of things.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's what your whole life becomes. You're just a fucking junkie.
Every day.
A junkie. I'm sorry. That's the commercial thing. I apologize.
It's
I'm a
okay.
commercial fish.
It's a learning experience.
Man.
Well, yeah, like, you want to enjoy your life because you said something about earlier, like life's too short. It is, it can be here today, gone tomorrow. And we only have one life. There's no do-overs.
No.
So
No.
we have to really think about what is our goal? Like, what do we want out of life? You know what I mean? Like, it's about happiness. It's about family and friends and helping others, because it's not like that much in the world.
No.
So it's like,
No.
and there's many people that are coming behind us. And that's what my purpose is today, is helping others. Genuinely want to help somebody out that was deep and dark as I was.
Right.
And so
Makes you feel good to see that.
I didn't think I was going to be able to get out of my 20s. I thought I was just going to.
How did you, like you were an addict, obviously,
Yeah.
how did you become able to do what you're doing today? As like become a counselor? Did you have to go to school for that? Like college?
Well,
like,
I'm a recovery coach. So I'm a recovery coach.
even how do you do that?
No,
Because I'm a high school dropout.
Right. I got my GED. I just got my
I got
high
my
school
GED
diploma.
in jail in Broward County.
That's
Florida.
all. Well, that's good. You got your GED.
I ain't never done nothing with it. I left it at the Broward County Jail, and I've never done
But
anything with it.
you
to
have
this
the
day.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You have a GED. You can still do things with that. You know what I mean? You don't have to stop. You know what I mean?
Well, I became a commercial fisherman, and I didn't need anything for that. Just
No,
hard bag.
But you do have an opportunity to do other things because you have a GED.
That certificate will allow me.
Oh yeah, because
my
a lot of jobs-
my conviction rate won't hold me back.
No, some things will, right? But you have a GED. You do have other avenues that you can explore.
Because
You know what I mean?
this past, I'm going fishing in May, but like this, I've been off for like coming up on 5.5 months now. And like, I really been putting time into trying to find a land job. And I'm just not getting, when I tell you zero,
Well, you're not
luck,
the only
I can
one,
show
too.
you indeed, I've applied over 100 freaking jobs.
We
in the past,
can't give up.
and I can't, and I haven't
know.
had one.
It'd be
response.
frustrating. You lose patience and tolerance. I get it.
And I mean, I know it's because of how easy it is to look somebody up nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
But
it's
you know,
like,
keep on, like, I have a rap sheet, but
right,
like, I'm working for the county, I'm a recovery coach. And this is like my purpose, this is my path, and it's
so how
just
did
start.
you become a recovery coach? What did you have to do? You got your GED?
So you get your hours, you do hours, you do trainings online. Yep, you already have the
Because it
experience.
seems like most counselors out nowadays are recovering addicts.
Yeah,
And I just, am like, in my head, like, well, they got a high school diploma, they got a
so
freaking college
counseling,
degree.
I'm not a counselor, I'm just a recovery coach.
Okay.
Right, so, but like, when you want to become a counselor, you have to get more
More hours,
certifications and stuff
okay.
like that. Yeah, there's different levels for different things, but for me, as a CPRS, a certified peer recovery specialist, you know, you doing hours, you do trainings,
Right,
you already have the experience. That's the main thing,
right,
is
right,
being a recovering addict.
right,
You know what I mean? So,
right, right, right. I mean, I got certifications. I think I was certified forklift driver. I was certified CPR. I was a certified nurse's aide.
it's good, man.
You know what I
So
mean?
you can explore the options out all the time, man. Yeah, but it might take time,
Right,
you know?
right.
So that was our all recovery meeting for the day. Personal growth and recovery. Become the best version of you. My name is Carl, I'm a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. Until next time, we'll see you later.
I didn't mean to pop in there.